Welcome to NovelBot. This is the audiobook of Rebirth of a Genius. Creator-Destroyer Chapter 161 to 170. Sam landed in the Duke Palace, and the same attendant led him to the courtroom. All this time the attendant was nervous, because Sam is wearing all the badges of his professions. Today, he is not coming here like the soldier or the candidate Sam, who is a late-stage novice. He is here like the rank 5 scholar artisan, pseudo-rank 3 tailor and weapon artisan, formation master and a rank 2 inscription master, who is also a late-stage novice at 16 years of age. Both statements are his identities, but both identities are of completely different worlds. When Sam entered the courtroom, he saw the general is standing in front of a middle-aged man who is sitting in the main seat. The man seemed to have just entered his late 30s. But since he is a nascent, the appearances will be deceiving. Sam walked towards the center and stood in front of the Duke. The first thing the Duke noticed when he saw Sam is how young he is, and the second thing is the badges that are pinned on the left side of the coat. They are too dazzling to ignore. That many professions, that many titles and that cultivation when he is that young. He really is a rare piece, and the Duke understood why the conflict escalated. A young man with those achievements is sure to be proud. Why would he endure the abuse of some old man? Duke has a faint smile on his face which is pleasing to see, and that face which resembled Nicholas Carton a lot is so bright and pleasant. Duke and Sam exchanged some pleasantries, then former came straight to point. Sam, I heard that you have a misunderstanding with our general here. May I know why you are damaging the whole military because of your conflict with an individual? Duke asked with same smile. His tone is not overbearing, but there is still some strictness in it. Does Duke Carton know about the whole situation? Did General Spark elaborate on it from start to end? Sam asked instead of replying to the earlier question. Duke didn't get angry, instead he replied with the same smile. I have been told that General and you have some differences, and you paid him back on the expense of the army and his disciples. Let us put the things about soldiers and the battles aside. He said that you are even hindering his disciple from getting a treatment. May I know why you are doing this? Sam chuckled as soon as he heard Duke's words. He looked at the general who didn't dare to meet his eyes because of his guilt. Even though the general wanted to bury the hatchet with Sam, he really didn't want to lose all his dignity and pride. So, he spoke by playing down the whole situation, and most of his words suggested that Sam is overdoing it. He just wanted the Duke to end the matter by forming a truce. He didn't expect that he would ask all these things. Even then he hoped that Sam would just comply and end the farce, but judging from how Sam made an appearance with all his badges of his professions, clearly indicating his status, there is a very little chance that would happen, and the situation went on just like that. Sam looked at Duke seriously and said, Duke Carton, I think calling the grudge between me and General as some misunderstanding and slight differences will be seriously undermining it. If you say so, I would like to listen to your side of the story. Duke replied. Well, the General himself might not like it if I tell everything, and who knows what would happen to me if I really did say it. I still have to stay in the Southern Star City for a while, right? This time, Duke clearly understood how much General undermined the situation. Sam's words reeked with sarcasm. His words clearly meant that General could clearly do anything to Sam, even if he complained to the Duke himself. Duke turned a bit serious and looked at General Spark before speaking. General Spark, you are senior to me as you serve as general under my father, and due to both of your friendship, he overlooked a lot of your shortcomings, and he even helped you when you were at your worst. I respected his decision in you since you are his friend, but that doesn't mean that you can make a fool out of me. I now demand that you explain the situation clearly without leaving a little bit of information. Otherwise, I might have to remind you that I am the Duke Carton now, and you are the subordinate working under me, with the hardest way possible. As he said those words, Duke Carton released his aura of the late-stage nascent, very close to peak. If his father and General are of same generation, then he is of the same generation as Marquis Blue Flame. And right now, the Marquis Blue Flame is still in the late-stage Grand Realm, while the Duke is in late-stage nascent. General lowered his head in shame, and then took a look at his disciples. All of them are having completely disappointed expressions. This is the first time they saw how despicable their teacher can be. Abusing authority, suppressing the weak and powerless, lying, unfounded pride. He is an absolute embarrassment. Those expressions made the general himself feel disappointed in himself. He took a deep breath and looked at the Duke before spilling everything out. Everything from how Zeke attacked Sam, how the latter retaliated, how the general used his authority and people to make trouble for Sam and his teammates. Even, how he involved the army. When Duke heard all these things, he couldn't even meet Sam's gaze. This is a great embarrassment. Everyone knew that this competition is a really important one, but Duke trusted General Spark and gave him all the responsibility. But the general broke all the rules which he himself made and troubled a youngster who is participating in the competition. And that youngster is not any normal candidate. Just based on his battle prowess, he might have been seated by the people behind the scenes, and now that he knew that he is adept in so many professions, it would be a miracle if they ignored Sam. So, the situation is more serious than he thought. He has simply put too much trust in Spark. He shouldn't have done that just because of his seniority. Seeing the silent Duke, Sam said, Duke Carden, with all due respect, can I ask if you really even care for your army? Your general is an abusive psycho who uses his authority just for his selfish motives. Not only that, I heard that he even suppressed the actions of Deputy General who tried to improve the welfare of the soldiers. Your regiment soldiers are full of trash, and nobody has a moral bottom line. Your regiment commanders are hypocritical people who only fears the strong and bullies the weak. In the 15 days, me and my teammates suffered in the camp while my remaining teammates suffered in the city. Not a single person came to my rescue. I only retaliated in the same way they did to me, and I didn't even break a single rule unlike them who treated the rules like a pile of shit, and now I am being questioned here. I had very good impression of you from your son Nicholas, but I might have to change my opinion. If not for the fact that I am strong enough and I have some special identities, who knows what would have happened to me. I would have been killed in cold blood for all I know. A grandson who thinks that everything has to go his way and ambushed an injured person with 20 people and a grandfather who has his back by breaking every FUCKING rule in the military and a duke who doesn't see it, unless that grandfather himself confesses it. I really feel like a new world opened up to me. Hearing Sam's outburst, the general and the duke are thoroughly embarrassed, and that embarrassment became anger. Even if a troop being lectured by a young brat is not a thing they can easily bear. Sam, you might be a victim here, but you should watch your words. It is not a good thing to be this disrespectful. You might not be able to bear the consequences. These words didn't come from the general or the duke, rather a great mage who is the full-time commander of the Thunder Wolf squad was the one who spoke those words. Sam just looked at him and said, Who the hell are you to talk to me? Is it even your place to talk here? The squad leader was angry. Even if Sam is great in the novice, but he himself is a great mage in middle stage, where did Sam has found the guts to talk to him like that? The squad leader is so self-centered that he forgot that Sam is picking a fight with his teacher who is nascent, much less a great mage. I am the squad leader of the Thunder Wolf squad. The conflict involves our squad as well. You crippled the spine of one of our soldiers, and I can ask you for an explanation. Thunder Wolf squad leader. In my eyes you are just a bunch of overrated soldiers, and you particularly are the leader of these pathetic life forms. Explanation. You guys better thank your lucky stars that I didn't start a massacre in your squad. If I wish so, even your teacher has no way to stop me, and you have balls to demand an explanation. If you dare to utter a word again, I will visit your squad again, and trust me, this time not a single novice can stand in their whole life. They can only crawl with their hands. Sam threatened directly. He didn't like to talk much, but there is a hidden agenda in this conversation he is making. In actual fact, Sam could have dealt with these guys the very second day, but why did he wait for 15 days patiently, and deal with all the regiments? There are some reasons. Like taking the revenge on General psychologically, making some quick buck, and the third and most important reason, points he has to earn. Who has so much time and patience to finish the tasks assigned by their instructors? He waited 15 days to see if any instructor is normal, since all of them are against him, and after revenge, no one will support him or mess with him. So, he has to find a quick way to get his hands on those points. Duke Carden frowned at the words of the two young men. Even though everything Sam said was on point, it is too hurtful to hear them, and made them feel ashamed as their mistakes being pointed out by a youngster. As for the squad leader of the Thunder Wolf squad, he really didn't have any right to speak here. After all, the mistake is his teacher's. Even his Sam's actions are overhanded. They can only blame their teacher if they have slightest bit on conscience. Sam, you are strong, I give you that. You are talented in many fields, I give you that too. You are the biggest victim in this situation, but you cannot just insult the whole army of the Southern Star. Duke said slowly. Insult the army. Duke Carden, you got something wrong here. If anybody is insulted, then that was me. It is an insult for me to stay in the army. From top brass to the underdogs, everything was messed up. Sam's reply made the general's face turn red in embarrassment. You cannot just make accusations, Sam. What you're saying is that the general, deputy general, and even all the commanders are just raising a bunch of waste all these years. Isn't it? Duke asked. Yes. That's what I mean. But you cannot simply say that. You have to prove it. I defeated a whole battalion myself. Even the Thunder Wolf novice squad was beaten half to death. I think that is enough proof. If you are not satisfied, I can have a go again, but this time, I won't hold back, and I think I can make another blade after that. Duke was speechless. He knew what Sam did with the Cougar family, but saying that he would do the same with his army, isn't it asking for a beating? But he controlled the urge and said, That only proves you are overly strong. Then how do you want me to prove it? Sam frowned and asked, We will get to that later. Now let us first deal with the issue between you and General Spark. How do you want to settle this? I am not the one who started this. You should ask the one who started on what his end goal is. Who knows, he might have planned to toy with me and my friends to death. He might have wanted to steal my wealth. He might cripple us and leave us on the road. An incompetent leader who only knows how to abuse his authority can do anything. Sam is clearly making a point. He is not done with the general. No matter how they change the topic, he simply wouldn't let go of the point: abuse of authority. Duke sighed and said, "Sam, you should cooperate. Even though General did those things, it was only on a moment of spite. He wouldn't do such things with his position." "How are so sure, Duke Carton?" "For all we know, he might have killed all the people that offended his grandsons and erased the evidence." "Why do you think his grandsons are so confident that they can even ostracize us from the whole crowd?" "This is clearly not the first time." General gritted his teeth as he stared at Sam. "This is unbelievably big accusation for a person in a position like him. Yes, it is true that he used his authority to help his grandsons, but that doesn't mean he is cruel enough to kill people just because of them." Sam is clearly painting him as an evil guy. Duke shook his head and said, "Sam, what do you want exactly? I need an answer. What is the end goal of the general? When would he have stopped harassing us if I didn't retaliate?" Duke looked at General Spark, but the latter avoided his gaze. He didn't want to say, because his grandsons clearly asked something big to be done to Sam, and that is Sam kicked out of the competition along with his teammates, and there is one more thing they wanted to do, which he didn't want to say in front of Sam. Because Sam just gave a warning yesterday about it. "General Spark, please don't let me and your disciples lose the last shred of respect we have toward you," Duke said in a tone of disappointment. But the general felt that he shouldn't say the truth even more after hearing it. When facing his grandson's requests, he didn't think that they are wrong, and that is mostly because of his guilt. But that doesn't mean he didn't know what is wrong or right. If he said those words, he would be painted as a black-hearted villain in his students' hearts. He took a deep breath and looked at Sam before saying, "Sam, it is really my fault for doing this to you, and me and my grandsons will take the responsibility. As for what my end goal was, I will tell you as long as you let Jim get the treatment, and we can discuss on what you want to bury this hatchet. A lot of innocent people are involved. Please don't make this any more complicated. What do you want? I can pay you if you need money. If you want some resources, pills, or as I can get them for you. Can you let this go? After this we won't cross each other's ways." Sam looked at him coldly. He took out a bunch of scrolls and said, "Who needs your money? Your 4 regiments owe me around 360 million. You better think of ways to pay me back before asking me how much I want. You are not worthy enough to buy me with money. As for resources, do you think your connections can best mine?" Sam flashed his artisan badges while looking at Jim. Then only General remembered what Sam could do. Jim's treatment is an example. He became silent immediately. Sam turned to Duke and said, "I have 2 conditions. First one, Blue Fire, the grandson of General Spark, should be deprived of his right to succeed the noble title from his father, and General Spark should resign to his position. He can stay in the military, he can run his squad, but he should be deprived of his general title." Everyone in the room were stunned and then revealed myriad of expressions. Duke was dumbfounded, General was furious, and the disciples are looking at Sam in horror. They all had one thing in their mind. Sam has balls of steel. "Sam, all this time, even if you were being blunt, at least you said some truth. But this is damn right outrageous. You are not qualified enough to decide the nobility titles and positions of the military command." Duke said, this time his tone is cold. "Oh, sure, then you decide. What is the appropriate compensation then?" "The general wouldn't tell me what he planned for me to decide what sort of compensation I should get. You are saying that my current demand is outrageous, you decide." At this moment, General understood that he has to reveal his plans he made, otherwise Sam is going to stay mum. He has a fleeting thought of lying through this, but when he saw Duke, who knew how General is like, he knows that it won't end well, and Sam is not a fool either. So, he decided and said to Sam, "I was planning to make you withdraw from the competition, and Zeke asked me to deal with your subordinate." By the end of the statement, his voice was low. Earlier Sam had given him a warning, not to mess with Watt, but his plans precisely included him. The whole room of people sensed a change in Sam. Sam is emitting a lot of killing intent. It is so much that the battle-hardened general and Duke also felt suffocating. They could almost smell blood from Sam. Sam gave an icy cold stare filled with murderous gleam. "You have guts, old man. Trust me. One day you are going to die in this very city, and no one would dare say a word about it. As for your grandson Zeke, you better make sure that you hide him as soon as possible. You dare use your authority to deal with my people, I will destroy that authority. I will strip you off of your everything. Your title, your family, your disciples, they will leave to the gutter. Anyone who helps you, I will them in cold blood." Then he turned towards Duke and said, "There is no room for compromise." Sam turned to leave. Duke came out of his trance and immediately stood up. He felt like Sam is a god of killing. He only felt that much killing intent and bloodlust from a single person, and that person in his life. So, he went into a stupor. "Sam, stop. He yelled and immediately released his aura to suppress Sam unconsciously. Sam stumbled and felt his legs buckle in pressure. He spat a mouthful of blood, even if the pressure were only there for a moment. He turned around and glared at the Duke. "I apologize, that was a mistake," Duke immediately said as he saw Sam's pale complexion. Sam's cold glare didn't subside. "I don't care if it is a mistake or not. But you better think before you make a move on me. You either kill me in a single blow or leave me alone. Otherwise, with your status, the whole Southern Star territory will be implicated." Sam still kept his arrogance. He might be weak, but physical strength is not the only thing that can decide. He has enough resources to get lost from his place, save his teammates and escape from this empire. He can stay low for a while, and you will destroy the Southern Star in a while. His ideas for creation might take some time, but for destruction, the more creative a person is, the more destructive that person can be. Duke was surprised by Sam's words. That unwavering confidence made us hesitate. "Sam, even though General thought ill of you, he didn't do anything yet. We can still remedy the situation." "There is nothing to remedy. Nobody can think doing anything to my people and live to see another day." "Sam, even you insulted the whole army. From the usual rules you can be executed." "Not if what I said was true." "Then prove it." "How?" "Test. Since you claim the general is incompetent and you completely believe so, I will give you a chance to prove it. Prove that you are more capable than him, and you would have the ability to judge him. If you really go against him now, the military and dukedom have to interfere. I will give you a solution for this too. You win this test, and the general will only be a normal reserve of the army, and after you think you are competent enough, you can come challenge him. If you win, you can kill him. Nobody will interfere. And I will even give you 1,000 points if can clear this test. All I ask is you do not involve the soldiers and the innocent in this." Sam coldly smiled in his heart. His second agenda was met. Sam thought for a moment and asked Duke, "What test?" "I will give you a battalion of soldiers, and during the war after the first 8 months, you will be tasked to defend a border town with that battalion. If you can do so, it is considered your win. If you lose, I will still award you with some points based on the performance, and you have to bury the hatchet with General." Duke explained as he looked at Sam, like he wanted to see through him completely. But he was unable to do so. Sam thought for a while and said, "I am okay with the deal. But I have some conditions. My team members in the camp will be given to my battalion. My training methods and practices cannot be copied, hindered, or questioned. I need access to the outside world without restrictions. I will be given authority to bring my people along with me. Deal?" Duke didn't even think twice before agreeing. Sam looked at the general with animosity and was about to leave. But the general stopped him. "The matter about Jim. What makes you think I would agree?" "Sam, this is between me and you. Don't take it on him. Then you shouldn't have involved him in the first place. What do you want in return? Just name it. Do you think you could buy me? Do you have enough worth?" Sam said these words and left the place. He was quite satisfied today. Not only did he get back at the general in Thunderwolf's squad, he has fulfilled his hidden agenda too. That's right, Sam has a hidden agenda, and that was fulfilled now. Since the first day of the military camp, he has laid down an elaborate plan to get 2 things out of Duke. One of them is obviously the points in the military test, and the second one is the information. The information about the competition and the people behind the scenes of these competitions. From the day that Marquis said that Sam is now under someone's protection, and anybody who is not part of the candidates will be dealt with if someone killed him, Sam became intrigued. He was interested in the people who can make the Empire do their bidding. But it is impossible to get the required info from the authorities. But would Sam just leave it at that? Absolutely not. So, he wanted to pry into the info and gather whatever he can. And this time, he wanted to gauge the importance of the candidates and the tolerance of the Empire's authorities towards the candidates, and not only that, he also wanted to know the factors that could influence the importance placed on a certain candidate. He felt that his conflict with General is the perfect opportunity, and actually proved to be one perfect opportunity. Right now, Sam's actions can be considered outrageous. Demanding a general to step down from his position, asking a lord to remove his subordinate's nobility status, destroying the novice's army, crippling a general's disciple, and threatening a general and a duke, along with the lives of the innocent. Any of the actions can be used to sentence him to death. Even if his identities as an expert in various professions will not help him much. Because the duke and general can downplay the situation since they have enough power, and the matter will be ended by demanding an extraordinary amount from Sam as compensation in the best case scenario. If Sam himself was in Duke's place, he would have slapped the offender to death, and then would think of ways to cover up. But Duke didn't do so. There might be 2 reasons. The Duke is too good of a person, which is most unlikely and far-fetched reason, and the second one, which is the most possible reason, is the people behind the scenes. From what Sam could guess, the people behind the scenes seem to place an enormous importance of the candidates. which can be observed from how Duke didn't want to kill Sam, and the importance is also relative. This can be concluded by how Duke tried to create a test to stop Sam from taking immediate action, and from the conditions after winning. He can only come at General after he was competent enough. If it was any typical candidate, even if Duke couldn't kill him, he would at least use force to put him in his place. But he didn't do so, and Sam believed that it has something to do with his professional status. That is the reason for him to think that importance is varied. A Duke is obviously more informed than a Marquis. And from Duke's reaction, Sam speculated some things. First one is the importance of a candidate can be influenced by their area of expertise. The candidates are tested in many ways. Their adaptability, will, endurance, mentality, investigation skills, and now military and business acumen. There could be two reasons behind this. One of them is that the people behind the scenes need a multi-skilled potential youngster, and the second one is the emperor is using this chance to find a bride and groom to his daughter and son. There is a high chance that both of them are right, and in both cases, the addition of his professional expertise will give him a high chance of succeeding. That led to the second speculation. Sam might have a chance to get some influential status and authority, which could definitely lord over the dukes and generals. That is why Duke proposed a test in conditions which would not affect the Southern Star much except for the general. The third speculation is, the people behind the scenes are keeping an eye on the candidates. If not, why would Duke be so cautious? He can just finish Sam and seal the news. The people behind the scenes have a very low chance of learning it, because only very few people know about this meeting. That means Sam would definitely be marked by someone, and any major moves of his might have been observed by them. But from Sam's experience, he didn't sense any gazes or any person tracking him. And it would be rather difficult to follow Sam for every place, because he moved out many times with the help of shadow mice. So, the other party might have employed some techniques to keep track of him. Sam had to figure this out, and he has to do so as fast as he can. In his previous life, Sam spent half of his lifetime under someone else's control. Now, he doesn't want to do so. So, he has to figure out a way to find out how he is being monitored. He has many secrets after all. After Sam left the palace, he was again escorted by the same attendant back to the camp. General wore a dejected expression. He looked at his students who were also in low spirits. Then he looked at the Duke. "I will talk to the tower head of the pharmaceutical tower. I cannot guarantee though." General nodded his head, and after some hesitation he asked, "Why did you propose such a test? What exactly is happening with the competition? What do you want exactly?" Duke shook his head and said, "The less you know, the better. But there is one thing I have to tell you. Sam must be already a seated candidate by them, and you better not mess with him. If I don't propose this test, Sam would carry the grudge, and then the whole Southern Star has to pay the price. As for why this specific competition, the Duke of our enemy empire sent a messenger. He wants to have a competition of young commanders at a border town. He might be trying to highlight his son and front those people. I was thinking on selecting a person, but I can only use this to deter Sam. If Sam died in this battle, there won't be a need to worry, but even if he won, at least I have a chance to mend the grudge. But then you would be in the most perilous situation. I hope you understand that I don't have much choice here." Duke said and fell silent. General understood this point as well. So, he fell silent. Next day, two things happened. One of them is the tower head of the pharmaceutical tower was invited to dinner at Duke Palace, and another one is an announcement in the camp of the military base. A battalion is going to be formed, and Sam is going to be the commander of the battalion. All the soldiers from various regiments can apply for a spot. If they don't, the soldiers will be selected randomly and will be assigned to the battalion. There is 3 days to apply. Sam didn't care about the recruitment. For all he knew, no one would apply, and he would have to pick the candidates himself. So, he didn't care much and made a visit to his estate. No one is at the estate at the moment, and all of them are busy with the business. Sam looked at the impact crystal excavation process, and noted that there is not much progress. Even if Kelly and Philip worked full-time, they might not have any progress, let alone when they are busy. So, Sam let out Yanwu, panthers, blazing earth bulls. All the fire types beasts he had with him and let them work on it. The panthers are already level 2. So, they can make some time to practice some fire control of the fire poison. The blazing earth bulls stopped at the peak of the level 2, and it is hard for them to grow beyond that. Sam let them use their fire to clear the impact crystals under the lead of Yanwu. He has some other things to do, and one of them is finding the method in which he is being monitored. So, he took the Zoe Termite Queen out. For gathering intel and tailing, shadow mice are the best, because they are highly intelligent and understand human language. But for scouting an area, the insects are the best things. Zoe Termite Queen let all the termites cover all the area around the mansion, and started spreading throughout the estate. The mansion is in the deeper part of the estate, and it is mostly covered with the impact crystals, which are toweringly high in some places, and at the same time, make it almost impossible to peer into the mansion from a distance. So, if the other party really wanted to keep an eye on Sam, by employing a human, he would be able to find them in no time with the Zoe termites. Even if the shadow mice are good, they are better suited for gathering intel and tailing. But for scouting a particular area in a short amount of time, insects with a queen are best. But Sam waited for more than half an hour, and he didn't find any person in the distance. More precisely, the queen didn't find anyone. Then he deployed the shadow mice to see if anyone is in shadow form. He might have overlooked this before. So, he let the shadow mice take a look. In the field of shadows, these shadow mice are the best. There are very few beings who can beat them in shadows when they are at their peak. After getting a negative result again, Sam felt that human following is out of question. So, he thought of something else. The watcher might be a beast or an insect. And there is another thing to consider, and that is the watcher should be capable of identifying the person who killed Sam, if they want to deal with that person. So, the search criterion can be narrowed a bit. And when he looked at the termite queen, something came to his mind. He immediately went into the tower library and went through the info of the bestiary. He spent more than 5 hours before he came out. Now, he has a faint smile on his face. If his guess was right, the watcher must be an insect. So, he gave some instructions to the queen and took out the remaining locust queens and general of the termites and locust. Then all the remaining locusts are let out to scout the area. After more than an hour, the termite queen finally gave him a positive answer. Sam immediately moved to an area the termites and locusts spotted, and he started using his observability. There he saw a small, thin, transparent butterfly flying. It is not visible to naked eye, and even the spiritual sense cannot pinpoint it. Only other types of insects can spot it, and that is also very difficult. This is soul-chasing butterfly, a very peculiar and useful insect. This insect is not like other butterflies which are independent, rather these butterflies also grow in a community. In fact, they stay with the caterpillars which would transform into the soul-chasing butterflies. The soul-chasing butterflies have a boss which gives the instructions, and this insect species bloodline is only below the Zoe termite. These soul-chasing butterflies are great for tailing and marking a person. The butterfly will attach itself to the soul presence of someone on the orders of the boss, and from then on it will follow that person. The boss butterfly can record some instructions to the subordinates, and infuse those instructions in form of memories or visuals into the souls of the butterflies. So, if something happens to the person they are tailing, the butterflies will act according to the instructions. For example, if the target is killed by a person and if the boss instructed that the butterfly should mark the person who killed, it will do so based on the visual instructions that are ingrained in its memories. If the target is assassinated sneakily or from a long range, if there are any instructions matching the scenario like following the trajectory, the butterfly can do so and mark the killer. The boss has a wide range of sensory when it came to sensing its subordinates, which is almost compared to a satellite from his previous life. But it can only sense its subordinates and nothing else. And the main drawback is it cannot attack, it is only useful for tracking. Sam felt amused and relieved at the same time. The soul-chasing butterfly can only track and didn't have any abilities to relay the messages. They have very low intelligence, and only the boss butterfly has some intelligence. A big shot of the people behind the scenes must have found and subdued this boss soul-chasing butterfly, and they must have found a way to mark the candidates, and Sam felt that it must have been after the Marquis City tests. That person who caught this insect must have gone through a lot. Because, the soul-chasing butterfly has many abilities that are suitable for tracking, and one of them is invisibility. It can blend into the surroundings like a chameleon. And its presence is almost negligible. Sam doesn't have to worry anymore. Even if they track the person, they wouldn't have a way to see what Sam is doing, and his secrets are safe. So, Sam didn't bother and recalled all the insects and went back to his mansion. He entered the tower and started doing some research and experiments. He needs to create a machine to get these impact crystals out as soon as possible. Even if they work their ass off, in their current situation, they won't be able to clear the whole estate. But Sam has to clear it as soon as possible, because this estate is one of his main points to make money in the latter 8 months. He is going to use the whole place to get as much as he wants. So, he has to speed up the process, and for that he has to find a way to get the fire that was strong enough to melt the impact crystals, and also make the device collect the molten crystal. He can try and use the 5 elemental crystals, and make a device made of energy cells and some inscriptions, but the consumption would be too costly, and the profit margin is very small. But Sam has an alternative for the heat source. The methane from the bulls. After he found out that the methane is powerful, he has Ape dig some large holes, and train the bulls to defecate in the pits. A single pit of methane gave him more than 20 liters of methane. Not liquid. Just volumetric measurement. The feces of this bull are so powerful and they do defecate a lot. The calorific value of the methane is so high that it can even be used to melt the materials like tungsten carbide and titanium in his previous life, if it is used like a normal torch without any pressure and setup. And with enough pressure and proper furnace-like environment, he is quite confident that he can melt this impact crystal. But the question is, how is he going to use this? He cannot just control the wind and pressurize the gas and increase flame intensity manually and stand there. If he can do so, he could just use the disintegration process. The point is that he doesn't have to stay here, but the work should be done. So, he buried himself in the research for the next 2 days, that is 20 days in the tower, to come up with a design. And when he was finally satisfied with the design and simulation in the second floor of the tower, after confirming the design, Sam started going through the materials he had and sorted them out. He wondered if the whole 10 days in the tower he has would be sufficient or not. Because, this time, the mechanism is going to be a lot trickier, and he has to make several components. This machine is going to be operated manually, and it would be a multi-purpose machine. The complexity of mechanism is not that high. The tricky part lied in placing and making the components with precision and accuracy. Any problems in manufacturing, he is going to have some serious trouble for the operator. That trouble would be risky, and the operator might even die if it is not handled properly. So, Sam has to be careful and take his time in making the items. The first and base of the machine is going to be made with gray meteoric sand. It has high strength, and it has a very high refractoriness for heat. The melting point is almost highest in the meteorite sands, but it is still within rank 2 materials, and its melting point is about above average rank 3 material, whereas the impact crystal can at most be at lowest of rank 3. The artisan Ford didn't clear this whole land because, even if the rank 3 metal can be molten easily with a rank 5 and rank 4, they would have to take a long time and energy to do so. Sam was sure that he wouldn't be able to complete this machine in 10 days. So, he decided that he would do what he can and leave the rest to later and return to the camp. Anyway, with the aid of beasts at least, the process of excavation would not stop. After working for 10 days and making more than half of the required parts, Sam came out of the tower and was greeted by the sunset. His teammates, namely Philip, Kelly and Jack, returned to the mansion. Watt is the first one to greet him. They knew he was here as they saw the fire-type beasts working vigorously in the estate to melt the impact crystal. But they don't know how they collected the molten crystal and cleared it up. This credit was given to the shadow mice. They used the space jade rings and delivered everything into the divine dimension, to be precise to the second floor, where Sam prepared some molds to let the impact crystal solidify. When Sam came out of his mansion, he saw Kelly and Philip working their fire control as they heated the crystal, and Jack, who is by their side practicing the sword. He is using the black meteorite sword as practiced only one action. Sword draw. The sword ray hit the crystal and boom, it exploded. But he didn't stop. Because, that is not his aim. After some observation, Sam understood his goal. Jack is trying to control the intensity of the attack. He wants to cut the impact crystal without exploding it. Sam felt that this is a great way of practicing, but he didn't want to do so. He just let them be and walked back into the mansion. He asked Watt on how they're doing business, and then found out that it is not going well at all. Why? The other teams are 15 days ahead of us, and by the time we entered the market, there were already rumors spread about us. I don't know how, but the citizens are avoiding the restaurant like plague. I tried to pry some info, and I found out that the citizens knew that we are being suppressed by the general. One of the teams of the southern Star City, which comprised of mostly nobles, spread the rumor. Since we were already enemies with the general, they didn't bother holding back. The supervisors who didn't cause us trouble are also not helping us get rid of the trouble. The business is being threatened and there is deficit in the materials we need. We wanted to try any other business, but the competition is even higher than the food business, and Kelly's skills are so-so to venture into the weapon business. As for the rest, you know better than me. But the main problem is these noble kids. They sent people to our restaurant to disturb the ongoing small business. Those people who came will start a fight for no rhyme or reason, and they are not afraid of getting beaten up. One time, they almost kidnapped one of us to do some bashing, but we were lured and escaped. The noble kids are getting more and more loose and doing anything they wished, as we have only 4 members. They even have plans on the Mackie and his staff. We have to be completely on guard and save them. When Sam heard this, he didn't have any visible reaction. He knew something like this would happen. Out of all the teams in the competition, their team is the weakest in terms of numbers. As for strength, that is a whole different matter with Sam, Philip and Jack here. Even Hawk is not that great compared to them. But the problem is Philip won't fight with his full strength no matter what. He always portrayed an average guy image. Every fight he had in the tournament was portrayed as if he barely won. But Sam knew otherwise. He has one thing on his mind, and that is to bring Philip out of that shell. Even though they might not seem that close, Philip is the first friend to him in this world. Although the relationship was a bit forced, they are still friends. When Sam came to this world, his mental state is not good. Added with the fact that Oliver is torturing him, he was completely annoyed by every little thing. Philip is one of the reasons he adjusted a bit quickly. Because Sam is not strong at the moment, and Philip shamelessly refused to let him go, Sam gradually calmed down as Philip's annoying banter served as the diversion. Whether intentional or unintentional, it is still a great help to him. So, Sam has to return the favor. From what he understood, Philip is not a simple kid from a tiny noble family in a rural city. He has a past, and that past is so dangerous that he wasn't even able to exhibit his prowess peacefully. But Sam felt that this is wrong. If one is afraid to face a problem and keep on postponing to deal with it when they are sure that they are capable, and even went on hiding in case they would be forced to deal with it, that is one of the stupidest things one could ever do. No matter the situation, one must first face it, and then think of means to escape if there is no way to deal with it. Hiding oneself even before facing the situation and knowing what is going to happen is not a great move. So, this time he only had one thing in mind, and that is not involving in the conflicts Watt mentioned. Jack is a great fighter, but he is not witty enough and is too straightforward. Philip is not. He might be even stronger than Jack as battle prowess, and he is witty and intelligent. He can deal the things here by himself. Sam didn't stay for long and left the estate. He has to return to the camp. When Sam entered the base in the allotted place for his battalion, he was surprised by the scene he saw. He assumed that there would not be a single person who will join his team. But the situation is completely different. There are a total of 100 people, and all of them are either fire element or wind element mages and warrior mages. Sam didn't even expect the scenario where he would have more than 30 members, much less the situation he is facing now with 100 subordinates. He thought that since he had made enemies of all the regiments, there wouldn't be any people willing to sign up. But there are 100 people. Sam assembled all of them before a stage and said in a loud voice, "I don't know why you came to join this battalion, but there is one thing I can tell you, you better not regret it later. This battalion is completely under me. No regiment commanders, or any other superior including the general, is going to take part in this. They don't have any say or authority over me and you, and in turn they don't have authority to stop my training and actions. If you are a part of my battalion, the first thing you have to know is that the training will be completely different from what you have been through all this time. It will be completely new and eccentric. Second thing, you have to treat yourselves as the part of the team. The team's interests will always be above yours. For me, all of you are going to be a single entity. I will treat you as a machine, and each and every soldier is a link of that machine. If one link or part fails, then the whole machine suffers. Third point, I will not be training you in what you want. I will be training you in what you need to be a great soldier and a great asset to the team. Fourth and most important point. My word is the rule that cannot be broken, law that has to be abided no matter what. Those who do not want to follow these 4 rules can leave now." Sam paused and looked at them with a sweeping glance. Seeing that no one is responding, he said, "Now that the rules are over, there are some things I have to warn you guys about. If any of you are here so that they can laze around, you better leave right now. Or else, you will regret this for the rest of your lives. For those of you who came here to take revenge by disrupting order and causing chaos in the team, you better leave right now. Because, once I find you, if you don't wish you were dead, I will change my name. Even if it is the orders of your regiment commanders or some other seniors. I don't care. I am a person who will kill the person that stabs at me and at the same time will destroy the knife they used. If you are going to be the knives, I suggest you guys get lost. I am only giving you guys all these chances because you came voluntarily. As for those who are going to be selected, they would not have any choice. So cherish it. You have till dawn. Think carefully and for now, disperse." Sam gave them a choice because they came here on their own without any force or rules. So, he gave them a chance to get out of here as they might regret it after the training started. But from what he observed, no one is willing to leave this place at all. He doesn't know why, but he felt that these people are very much familiar with each other and are all here together, and the decision seemed to be unanimous. Sam didn't mind though. At least, there are 100 subordinates which he doesn't have to beat into shape. The next day, all the regiments are in the small-scale turmoil. The regiment commanders are thinking hard on who to get rid of and send them to the Sam's battalion. But that is not entirely feasible because the final say is based on the requirements Sam is going to provide. Sam doesn't have the complete authority to select the people from the battalions, but he has enough say in what type of people he requires. And his requirements are as follows. Earth element mages or warrior mages. 50. Water element mages or warrior mages. 50. Wood element mages or warrior mages. 40. 10 light element mages or warrior mages. Warriors. 50. Rest can be decided by the regiment commanders themselves. When the regiment commanders learned these requirements, they were absolutely happy. They thought that Sam would take advantage of the situation and ask them for some squads or even a company from each of them, but Sam didn't do so. So, they started cleaning up their regiments and searched for the bad eggs, so that they'd be thrown into Sam's battalion. Sam didn't mind though. Everyone will be beaten into shape once they are under him. So, nothing to worry about. 2 days passed and the 500 members are finally assembled. Sam stood on the stage in his black coat. He looked at all of them from the stage as he observed their expressions. Some of them are filled with fear, some with anger, some with frustration, and some with eagerness. After observing the group for a while, he finally opened his mouth. Many of you might already know who I am, but I am going to introduce myself. I am Sam. I am a candidate in the special batch. But due to my qualifications and abilities being evaluated to be more than my peers, I was given a task to manage a battalion and a title of battalion commander. But there is a catch here. You are under me and only me. Even the general of the army has no authority over you. I know many of you are not willing to be here, and if given a chance you might even want to beat me to death. But let us face the reality. Even if all of you guys come at me together, you will not be able to do anything to me. I can defeat you guys within minutes. If any one of you wanted to create chaos or make the teamwork unstable, beware of one thing, that here in this battalion I am the main fighting force, and if I can take on a battalion here, then I can do so in the border too. I don't have much need for you guys at all. So, if anyone plays tricks, I will definitely dispose of them. Be careful. In this battalion, I will be training you guys myself, and training will be mostly depending on the individual strengths characteristics which will make you guys most efficient and most useful to the whole squad. I will train you according to what you need and what you want. For the 7 months, you will do what I say, eat what I give and rest when I tell. No questions asked, no answers given. Whether you like it or not, that will be done so. I will be dividing you guys into companies, and each company will be trained separately, and then again, all the companies will be then trained together for some better cooperation. From now on, each company is a single entity in my eyes. If one person makes a mistake, the whole company will be punished. Correcting the person by force or help is up to the company members themselves. The training will be hellish. Imagine the worst nightmare you have and multiply it by 10. You will be tortured and wish you were dead. But you are not even allowed to die on your will. No one is an exception from not completing the daily routine. Even if one person misses, the whole company is doomed. I am not sure how many of you can complete this training and be safe. But I am sure of thing, and that is the more torture you are going to go through, the more returns you are going to have. And for that, I have to show you my other identity. Sam paused and took out his artisan badges, as well as formation and inscription master badges. I am not just a candidate, but also a rank 5 scholar artisan, rank 3 weapon artisan, rank 3 inscription master. I am wealthier than a normal noble family. You don't have to train for me here, train for yourselves. Because, every month there would be a competition between the companies, and the winner will be having ample rewards. Other than that, there are going to be individual rewards also. In the camp there is going to be a credit system. There will be an exchange point in the camp, and more credits an individual has, the valuable thing an individual can obtain. Many of you have low quality rank 1 weapons. If you have enough credits you can exchange them for even a rank 3 weapon, a formation disc, a full body set armor, potions, pills. Anything can be obtained. For obtaining the credits though, you have many ways. One can obtain some credits from winning the duels, winning the competitions, performing well in the exercises, mock battles. I will give you a chance to earn them as an individual or as a team. You can do anything with the things you won, you can even sell them for all I care. In short, I only have few words for you, and that is, the more you bleed here, the more you earn. So, work hard. For today they'll familiarize with each other. From tomorrow onwards the training will start. Sam didn't waste his time after saying his piece. All the soldiers, though, were extremely unsettled. That is because they never expected Sam as an artisan and also expert in many other professions. Many of them were excited about the part about rewards, and from what Sam said, if they could get their hands on extra goods, they can even make some money by selling them. This is one of the best opportunities one could hope for, as they don't have much future in gathering enough wealth being a soldier. They only have some wealth from the savings they made from their salaries.